What's up guys, it's Ian here, back today with another vlog, and today I'm bringing you another starting strength workout. Today I'm gonna voice over the workout and give you my step-by-step thought process as I'm going through each of the lifts. I'm gonna give you my key takeaway notes and some of the primary things that I look for in my technique when I'm performing these main lifts. Can't stop these gains! When I'm setting up the squat, I really like to grind in my shoulders into the bar, really get it in that groove, take a big breath, unrack that bar, and then step back into my squatting stance. I like to unrack it with a narrow parallel stance, step back, and then out to the sides. I'm also aiming to try to pull my elbows close to the sides as I'm setting it up. It can be good to experiment with a couple different hand positions until you find the hand position that really allows you to squat the most comfortably and sustain productive training over time. When I initiate my squats, I have the hip slightly bent, and then after that point, I like to move pretty evenly about the hips and the knees at the same time. I'll usually bring the knees forward to about where my toes are, and then after that, I achieve the rest of my depth in the squat by lowering the hips and kind of moving about the hip joint. Remember that even if you squat with a wider stance, it'll be easier to unrack that bar with the narrower stance. This is because trying to walk out with a wider stance is a lot more difficult than walking out with the narrow stance. So unrack it narrow, walk back narrow, and then step out into your squatting stance. Can also help to step back in before you return the bar to the rack as well. Here's a few different angles. I look down to make sure that the feet are roughly symmetrical. I don't advise to intentionally move the head when squatting. I try to keep the neck and head neutral in alignment with the body. I find that I kind of get a little bit stuck during one portion of the squat, and then once you move past the sticking point of the squat, my body just kind of accelerates quickly, and that's, I think, why my head is moving in these shots here. Here, I'm doing the overhead press. In the overhead press, I like to start with the arms touching the body, so I like to aim for the triceps to be touching the lats here. I lean the head back and try to push the bar as straight up as I can. Once the bar clears the forehead, I poke my head back through, and my head is in that forward position when I reach the lockout of the overhead press. There's a few different ways to actually perform the overhead press. You'll notice a lot of lifters don't stick the head forward, and they kind of don't come to a full shoulder lockout. They will fully lock out the elbows, but not the shoulders in the overhead press. To come to a really full lockout of the overhead press, it requires for you to poke the head through at the end, very similar to when you see an Olympic weightlifter jerk the bar or reach a snatch position. I'll sometimes do a little pump motion if the weight is hard, so I'll come up to the chin, take a breath, and then use the pre-stretch reflex as I lower the bar to the collarbone and initiate the first rep. Then on each subsequent rep, I like to cycle my breath at the top of the range of motion, so exhale at the top, inhale there, and then use the pre-stretch reflex at the bottom to make the next rep a little bit easier. Alright, next up, I'm going to perform the deadlift. I like to align the barbell over the middle of my foot, and then I'm aiming to have the front of my elbow, or the front of my arm, flush with the front of the kneecap. This is what lets me know that my hips are at the right height. When I'm setting it up, I like to do my hands first, straighten the arms, and then set the back position and drop the hips into place all at once. I like to take a breath in with my back still rounded. So I'll do my arms, back still slack, take the breath, set the back, and drop the hips into position, aiming for the front of the knees to be about flush with the front of the arms when the bar leaves the ground. I like to set the hips to whatever height they'll be at when the bar leaves the ground. If the hips move up before the bar begins to move off the ground, that's generally a sign that you're setting the hips too low. And if the knees are far back behind the front of the arms, that's generally a sign that the hips are too high in the starting position. Just use your warm-up sets and lighter sets as trial and error to really dial in that starting position. Consider recording yourself from the side or the front 3/4 view angle to really see what's going on, and this will let you dial in that starting position on the deadlift. Here, I'm trying to do some straddle front levers. The first attempt wasn't very good. I didn't lock in that position at the top so well. On the second attempt, it goes better. I've taken a big breath and really do a better job of locking in that position on the second attempt. Here, I'm just doing some pull-ups in a tree. Hopefully you enjoyed this voiceover, just a bit of the thoughts that I go through when I'm executing these exercises that I wanted to share with you. Alright guys, no excuses. Pull on a tree. Thank you for coming and watching today's vlog. Hopefully you found some of the information useful regarding the main lifts that we covered with the voiceover. Let me know down in the comment section below if you have any questions about anything that you saw today, and I'll do my best to answer in the comments or address it in the next video. Once again, thank you for coming and watching this video, and can't stop these gains!